Hi, my name is Chris Brennan with theastrologyschool.com. So the purpose of this video is to teach you how to calculate your ascendant or your rising sign, which are sort of more or less the same thing. And I'm going to show you how to do that using Astrodienst, which is the most accurate website for calculating birth chart placements. So first, before we get started, what is the ascendant or what is the rising sign? The ascendant, technically speaking, is the degree of the zodiac that's rising over the eastern horizon at the moment that you're born. So just like everybody has a sun sign, which is where the sun was placed in one of the 12 signs of the zodiac at the moment of birth, there was also a sign of the zodiac basically rising over the horizon where the sun rises each day, that was rising at the moment that you were born as well. And that's what's called the ascendant or the rising sign. So in some instances, the rising sign might be the same as your sun sign, but for most people, the rising sign is actually going to be different than your sun sign. And this is important because typically when astrologers are doing a full birth chart, they'll often put much more emphasis on the ascendant or the rising sign than the sun sign, at least in some instances. And in fact, a lot of new horoscope columns are written with the rising sign or the ascendant sign in mind rather than the sun sign. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and let's actually demonstrate how to calculate the rising sign really quickly. So first, I've got just my YouTube channel up, so start wherever you're going to start. Go to the address bar and type in astro.com, so just astro.com. Hit enter, go to astro.com. So astro.com has a ton of free resources for free chart calculations. It's a really good website. If you haven't been there before, then it would be a good idea to familiarize yourself with it, just because there's a lot of free stuff that they offer that's extremely useful for astrology and for advanced forms of astrology. So once you get to astro.com, go to free horoscopes, then go to natal chart, ascendant. So click on that, and it's going to ask you basically either to create a free profile or just to go ahead and cast the chart. So either way will work, but for our purposes, we'll just go straight to the data entry page. And you're going to want to enter your name. So your name doesn't really matter. Last name you can enter if you want, it doesn't really matter. Your gender, which again doesn't really matter. And this is where we get to the important part. So first you need to enter in your exact birthday, which is the day, month, and year that you were born. So for our purposes, I think today is June 29th. So let's imagine that we were born today on June 29th. So until your 29th of June, 2018. Next, you want to enter your hour of birth, which is the exact hour and minute that you were born. So right now it's 4:43. So let's say that hypothetically that our person was born at 4:43 p.m. today. And the birth time is actually really crucial for this because the ascendant changes every few minutes, and then the rising sign changes about every couple of hours. So you actually really need to be as precise as possible in entering what time you were born, because minor changes in that can create pretty major fluctuations. So best case scenario, hopefully your birth time was written down on your birth certificate or some other birth record. If it wasn't, try asking your parents. So parents' memory can sometimes be okay, but sometimes it can be very unreliable. So if you can get the birth certificate or a birth record, try to focus on that. If you can't, then fall back to parents or their family members' memory. And just get it as close to exact as possible, because the time is really crucial in calculating and determining the ascendant and the rising sign. So finally, pick the country and the country and the city that you were born. So I'm going to put Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm at. Already it'll throw up a preview of the the sun sign, the moon sign, and your rising sign. And then you want to hit continue. And then what it'll do is it will just automatically generate this little chart. And what this is, if you've entered in your birth data, is this is a full copy of your birth chart, which lists the positions of all of the planets at the moment of your birth. And each of them is basically going to be in a different sign of the zodiac. Some of them will be in the same sign. The one that you're familiar with already probably is your sun sign, which here's the sun in this example, which is in Cancer. But then we can see that Venus is in Leo, the moon is in Capricorn, Neptune is in Pisces, and so on and so forth. So the most important part for our purposes is what is the ascendant and what is the rising sign. So there's a few ways that that's listed in this chart. One of them is it's listed visually just based on looking at the left side of the wheel. The thing that says AC, that's the ascendant. And whatever sign of the zodiac that's in, that's going to be your rising sign. So in this instance, the ascendant is in Scorpio, and it says that it's at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So technically the exact ascendant is at 20 degrees of Scorpio, and the rising sign in general, the entire zodiacal sign that the ascendant is located in, is Scorpio as well. So the ascendant is also listed in a few other places in the chart. In the top left, it's listed in red. It says ascendant Scorpio. It also says the sun sign, which is Cancer. It's also listed further down under all of the planetary placements, where it lists the planet, the name of the planet, and then the degree and sign that it's in. Just below that, it lists AC 20 Scorpio. So there's actually a few places in this chart, once you actually get the chart from Astro.com, where it will list the ascendant and tell you what it is. But the main thing for most people is just establishing the sign of the zodiac that it's in, and for our purposes, that's listed in the chart in the top left in red. So that's pretty much it. The ascendant, like I said, is just the sign of the zodiac that was rising over the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth. Because it changes every 1 or 2 hours, the ascendant is actually one of the most personal placements in a person's birth chart. So it's one of the things that actually characterizes them, and one of the things that makes them more unique than some of the other planetary placements that move much more smoothly and therefore are the same for more people. So the ascendant, because it moves from zodiac sign to zodiac sign every hour or two, is a lot more unique to each individual person. So as a result of that, you should typically read most horoscope columns using your ascendant or your rising sign rather than just your sun sign. Alright, so I think that's it for this tutorial. It's just a brief tip on how to use Astro.com to identify your ascendant or your rising sign. Obviously, there's a lot more that we can go into, and I'll do that in other videos. But for now, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.